Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're diving into something quite personal, actually. It's about a spiritual seeker dealing with some pretty big expectations.
Yeah, we've got these excerpts from a YouTube video, El Sendero de la Iniciación, Parte 15, by Marcelo Martorelli.
Right, from the Más allá del pensamiento channel.
And it gives this incredible look inside a disciple's head. He's waiting for this encounter with an interdimensional teacher, Elon, who's actually his own master's master.
Wow, okay.
But then, spoiler alert, Elon doesn't show up. So it's all about how he processes that hope and then the disappointment.
Right, and that's what we want to unpack today. Really get into the disciple struggle, the hopes, the fear, the ego kicking in.
And crucially, how his master guides him through it all when things don't go as planned.
Exactly. So, okay, let's start at the beginning. The disciple tells his master, hey, this meeting with Elon is supposed to happen soon, but he's finding it really hard to even imagine how he will react.
And what's interesting straight away is he knows himself pretty well. He says he's usually good at seeing possible futures, right?
Yeah.
But this, meeting an interdimensional being, it's like completely blank. He can't picture it.
It really shows, doesn't it? Our prediction ability just stops where our current reality ends.
Totally. You can imagine something completely outside your frame of reference.
So he starts wondering why.
Yeah.
Is it just fear? Fear of the total unknown?
Or he asks, is it his ego blocking him? Like maybe his ego wants this whole Elon thing to stay a nice idea, a dream.
Rather than something real that could shake things up.
Exactly. It's that human thing, isn't it? We kind of like the idea of transformation, as long as it stays over there, potential.
Yeah,
Safe, yeah. The ego wants safety, reality, real change. That feels risky. The dream is manageable.
And he feels this pull, this conflict inside, staying comfortable versus this deep desire for, real growth.
He senses something big is happening internally. Even if he can't name it, that inner conversation gets louder.
That buzzing feeling inside.
Yeah, that's often a sign, isn't it?
Yeah.
Something's shifting. Even if the conscious mind is still catching up, it's like the system preparing itself.
So he takes all this confusion, this anticipation and fear to his master. How does the master respond initially?
Well, first off, the master gets it. He acknowledges how huge this is for the disciple, calls it the greatest of all challenges.
Doesn't downplay it.
Not at all. And he goes straight to the core issue. You can't grasp the unknown from the viewpoint of the known. It's just impossible.
Like trying to explain color to someone who's only ever seen black and white.
Exactly that. Our current tools, our logic just aren't built for it.
So the master talks about needing to go beyond forms, beyond our usual ways of seeing things.
Yes. And connect with the heart and the love of the unknown. That's a big shift.
It really is. Away from head knowledge toward feeling, intuition.
Precisely. He's steering the disciple away from trying to figure it out logically. He points out that the ego feels secure with what it knows.
Right, the familiar.
The familiar. But when something truly new comes along, that whole foundation of security just vanishes. It crumbles.
And this is where it gets really interesting. The master says when the new approaches the old, like this potential meeting, challenging the disciple's current reality, the old system, the ego.
It resists. It pushes back.
Right. It doesn't want to dissolve, so it actually blocks understanding because this new reality, it's beyond logic.
It's a fantastic insight into how the ego works. Its job is self-preservation, right?
Keep the status quo.
Exactly. Anything threatening its worldview is danger. So up go the defenses.
Yeah.
And one defense is just not being able to compute, not understanding stuff outside its box.
So the ego is like the ultimate comfort zone protector.
Totally. Even if that comfort zone means missing out on something potentially amazing, growth often means leaving that zone.
So given this resistance, what's the advice?
The master advises cultivating an intuitive attitude, just observing, being aware, but without judging.
That sounds simple, but it's actually quite profound, isn't it? Shifting from analyzing everything to just watching.
It takes real effort, actually, to step back from the mental chatter and just witness your experience without slapping labels on it. It creates openness to the unknown.
Okay, so the stage is set. The master had said Elon was coming soon, anticipation is high, and then?
And then, nothing. Elon doesn't appear physically.
Oof. How did the disciple take that?
Well, predictably, disappointment, sadness, even worry. Did we do something wrong? Did I mess it up? Was the master wrong? Are we not worthy?
Oh, that's so human, isn't it? That immediate turn inwards to self-blame or doubt when expectations aren't met.
Absolutely. We've all been there. It shows how vulnerable we are when we pin our hopes on something specific, especially spiritually.
It really throws that whole tension into sharp relief, the longing versus the potential crash. So the master's explanation for the no-show, he pushes back hard on the failure idea, right?
Immediately, he says, look, it's got nothing to do with merit or failure. The intention, the preparation, that was all real and acknowledged.
So what was it then?
He talks about something subtle, an emotional layer, not mental, but emotional, that still held a mix of expectation and, crucially, need.
Expectation and need. Okay.
Like a small distortion, he calls it, or a veil. Not a mistake, not a fault, just a lingering attachment.
That's a really fine distinction. It's not blame.
No, it's about understanding the subtle ways our own desires, even sincere ones, can kind of color things. The master says the emotional body needs to empty completely.
Through surrender.
Through absolute surrender. Not forcing it, not trying really hard, but just letting go.
He also mentioned this desire to wait to confirm. What's that about?
That's fascinating. He says, Elon doesn't come to confirm something for you. Elon comes to multiply what you've already confirmed inside yourself.
Well, okay. So the external event isn't the proof. It reflects an inner state that's already there.
Exactly. If that inner knowing isn't solid, the external thing, even if it happened, wouldn't really land. It wouldn't be true confirmation.
Then the master talks about what is needed for physical contact. High vibration, sure, but also the dissolving of the spiritual ego. What even is that?
Yeah, the spiritual ego. It's how our regular ego can sneak into our spiritual life.
Like wanting enlightenment to feel special.
Exactly. Or wanting miracles to prove how far you've come. It's still the ego, just dressed up in spiritual clothes. The master's saying even that desire for proof, for a miracle.
Can be an attachment, a block.
It can be. It's rooted in needing external validation rather than finding the truth within.
But he says wanting validation is human, not an error.
Right, it's normal.
Yeah.
But it just shows the need for even deeper surrender. And not surrender as an action you do, but surrender as a state you are.
A state of being.
Yes. And the encounter shouldn't be prepped for like an exam, but seen as just an extension of the love you're already feeling right now.
So the encounter happens when it's not needed anymore, in that desperate, expectant way.
That's the idea. When the disciple can let go of when and where and just be present.
Wow. That's a state of deep acceptance.
Totally. Moving beyond the mind's need for specifics and just resting in the now.
The master then zooms out a bit, talks about this time being one of big vibrational expansion, not just for them, but like collectively.
Yeah, like a collective release of anxiety about needing miracles.
So the non-appearance served a bigger purpose too, guiding people away from waiting for signs and towards inner work.
That seems to be the implication, shifting the focus inwards.
And then he gives really practical advice, doesn't he?
Very practical. Stop meditating in expectation. Start meditating for love.
Engage with life.
Yes, fully, joyfully. Go for a walk, but don't scan the horizon for signs. Smile at people without expecting a mystical event to happen because you smiled. Embrace lightness.
It sounds like just living normally, but with a different inner quality.
Exactly. And he calls these instructions a vibrational guide, not just, they're there, it'll be okay.
Not just consolation, it's guidance.
It's practical steps to cultivate that inner state, that vibration, aligning your everyday life with love and joy, not constantly seeking the extraordinary outside yourself.
And he clarifies the contact wasn't canceled, just differed with purpose.
Right. Not denied. He uses that lovely image, the door isn't shut, it's more like an instrument being fine-tuned.
Tuned to the exact right note, the right vibration.
Precisely. It gives the delay meaning,
Yeah.
suggests the timing is important, that things are still aligning perfectly.
And the final assurance, when it does happen,
Recognition will be instant, no doubt.
you'll just know.
A deep core knowing. No need for proof or analysis.
So wrapping this up, we've seen the challenge of the unknown, the ego fighting back, and the huge importance of letting go of expectations.
Yeah, the main takeaway feels like true connection, whatever form it takes, comes from your inner alignment, your state of being.
Not from chasing external validation or trying to force things.
Exactly. The master keeps pointing back inside. Cultivate love, joy, presence. That's the real journey. The inner transformation is the main event.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? Where in our own lives are we maybe holding on to expectations so tightly that we're actually blocking something deeper, more real? What would it look like to just be in those situations, release the need for a certain outcome, and just trust the process? It's definitely something to chew on. Thanks for digging into this with us today.